The following morning, Brenda arrived at the bank, still convinced she had done the right thing. As she unlocked her office and prepared for another day, Diane rushed in, her face pale. "Brenda, you need to see this," she said, holding up her phone. On the screen was a news article with the headline, "Bank Manager Refuses Service to Tech Billionaire and Philanthropist." Brenda's stomach sank as she continued reading. The man she had turned away was Jonathan Edwards, a self-made billionaire and one of the world's leading innovators in technology and renewable energy. Known for his low-key lifestyle and dedication to charity, Edwards had recently pledged billions to infrastructure and educational projects across the country. Her heart raced as Diane scrolled through the comments on social media. Opinions were polarized. Some praised Brenda's firm stance against what they perceived as political antagonism, while others criticized her for making assumptions based on appearances. Before Brenda could fully process what was happening, the phone on her desk rang. It was the regional manager. "Brenda, we have a situation," he said, his tone clipped. "Mr. Edwards has publicly stated that he will no longer conduct any business with our bank. Several other high-profile clients are pulling their accounts in solidarity." Brenda's face flushed. "Sir, I didn't know who he was," she stammered. "That's the problem," the regional manager snapped. "This isn't about politics, it's about professionalism. Get ready to explain yourself. Corporate wants a full report, and Edwards is considering legal action for discrimination." Over the next few days, the story continued to unfold. The local community was abuzz with debate, and news crews camped outside the bank, eager to capture every development. Brenda became the unwilling face of a national controversy. Meanwhile, Jonathan Edwards issued a statement. Calm and measured, he expressed his disappointment but refrained from calling for any direct action against Brenda or the bank. Instead, he emphasized the importance of treating all individuals with respect, regardless of personal or political differences. The backlash led to an emergency meeting at First Horizon's headquarters. Brenda was placed on administrative leave pending an investigation, and the bank issued a public apology, promising to implement bias training for all employees. For Brenda, the fallout was life-changing. Her once sterling reputation was tarnished, and she struggled to reconcile her actions with the unintended consequences. As for Edwards, he quietly moved his accounts to a competitor and continued his philanthropic work, leaving behind a powerful reminder of the impact of assumptions and the importance of treating everyone with dignity. Brenda's mind raced, struggling to process Diane's words. Elon Musk? No, it couldn't be. The man from yesterday, the one she had dismissed, was now standing before her, his red hat as bold as ever, flanked by what could only be described as a small entourage. "Good morning," the man said, his voice calm and collected. "I'm here to discuss my account." Brenda stood up abruptly, her palms damp. "Mr. Musk," she stammered, her voice faltering. I didn't realize." He held up a hand, silencing her. "Please, let's keep this professional," he said. "I'd like to withdraw my funds, all of them." Gasps rippled through the bank. Brenda's heart pounded as she realized the magnitude of the situation. Elon Musk wasn't just any customer. His wealth was legendary, and if he had an account here, it likely contained more money than she could fathom. "Of course," she said quickly, her voice shaking. Let me process that for you." She motioned for Diane to assist, her hands fumbling with the computer keyboard. The tension in the room was palpable as the other customers and employees watched, whispering among themselves. Brenda could barely focus, her thoughts spiraling. How had she misjudged him so badly? As she worked, Musk leaned slightly forward, his calm demeanor unchanged. "You know," he said softly, "yesterday wasn't about the hat. It was about how you treated someone you assumed didn't matter." Brenda swallowed hard, her cheeks burning. I didn't mean to offend," she stammered. He nodded, his gaze steady. "I'm not here to make a scene, but I hope this serves as a lesson. Treat everyone with respect. You never know who they are or the impact they can have." When the transaction was complete, Musk straightened and adjusted his hat. "Thank you," he said simply, before turning to leave. His entourage followed him out, leaving the bank in stunned silence. As the heavy glass doors closed behind him, Brenda sank into her chair, her confidence shattered. Around her, whispers began anew. "That was really him," Diane murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. Brenda nodded, her throat tight. She knew this moment would haunt her for a long time, not just because of who Musk was, but because of what it revealed about herself. Elon smiled gently at Lauren, his expression softening. "That's the right answer," he said. "We're all human, and it's natural to have biases, but it's how we overcome them that matters." He turned back to Brenda, his calm yet piercing gaze holding hers. "I didn't come back today to humiliate you or anyone else," he said. "I came back to make a point. That respect should be the foundation of any interaction, no matter who's on the other side of the desk." Brenda's face burned with shame. She opened her mouth to respond, but the lump in her throat wouldn't let her. All she could do was nod. Elon adjusted the brim of his cap, placing it back on his head. "Now, as for my account," he said, his tone returning to a businesslike calm. "I'd like to close it, not because of what happened, but because I believe this moment is better served as a lesson than a financial transaction." The room seemed to exhale collectively, the tension slightly easing. Diane stepped forward hesitantly, offering to assist Elon with the account closure. As Brenda sat there, watching the process unfold, she felt a mix of relief and regret. When everything was finalized, Elon picked up his briefcase and prepared to leave, but before he walked out, he paused and turned back to the room. "Remember," he said, addressing everyone, "kindness costs nothing, but it can mean everything." With that, he walked out of the bank, leaving behind a stunned silence. As the door closed, Lauren turned to Brenda and hesitated before speaking. "I think we all learned something today," she said quietly. Brenda nodded slowly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes, we did." From that day forward, the atmosphere in the bank changed. Brenda implemented training sessions to address unconscious biases, and the staff became more mindful of how they treated customers. Though the memory of that day remained a painful one for Brenda, it also became a turning point, a reminder that every interaction carries the potential to shape not just the people involved, but the entire community around them. The atmosphere was electric, as though a lightning bolt had just struck the room. People murmured in disbelief, their voices low but charged with emotion. "Did that really just happen?" one customer whispered to another, clutching their phone but too stunned to record anything. "Elon Musk donating $500,000. Here? In Waco?" a young teller said, her voice tinged with awe. Brenda, still holding the donation pledge, felt the weight of the moment bearing down on her. Her hands trembled as she reread the document, the bold signature at the bottom confirming its authenticity. Diane approached cautiously, her voice soft. "Brenda, this could change everything." Brenda nodded, still too overwhelmed to speak. The shame she had felt earlier hadn't vanished, but it was now accompanied by something else, a profound sense of responsibility. "Call the Waco Community Relief Fund," Brenda finally managed to say. "Let's make sure this gets processed immediately." Diane nodded and hurried off to make the call. The ripple effect. The news spread like wildfire. By the end of the day, every major outlet in Waco, and soon the nation, was reporting on Elon Musk's unexpected visit and generous donation. Social media was flooded with posts, photos, and opinions. Some praised Musk for his grace and his message of unity. Others debated the broader implications of the incident, focusing on themes of bias, community, and redemption. For the bank, the donation sparked both celebration and introspection. Brenda convened an emergency meeting with her staff that evening, addressing the incident head-on. "We made a mistake yesterday," she began, her voice steady despite the emotions roiling inside her. "And it wasn't just my mistake. It was a reflection of something deeper. We need to do better, for our customers and for each other." She outlined a plan for mandatory training on bias and inclusivity, as well as new protocols to ensure every customer was treated with respect and dignity. A community transformed. In the weeks that followed, the Waco Community Relief Fund put Musk's donation to immediate use, funding housing projects, educational programs, and small business grants. The impact was felt across the city, and the story became a symbol of hope and change. As for Brenda, the incident marked a turning point in her career. Though she had faced public scrutiny and personal shame, she chose to learn from the experience. She became a vocal advocate for community outreach and worked tirelessly to rebuild trust with her customers and staff. One afternoon, months later, a letter arrived at the bank addressed to Brenda. Inside was a simple note, handwritten and unmistakably from Elon Musk. The greatest lessons come from our toughest moments. Keep moving forward. Elon. Brenda smiled, her eyes misting. She carefully folded the note and placed it in her desk drawer, a reminder of the day her assumptions were challenged and her life and her community changed forever. Began debating the broader implications of what had happened at the bank. News outlets and social media were flooded with discussions about bias, personal responsibility, and the power of second chances. Brenda's story, though initially a source of public scrutiny, became a catalyst for a much-needed dialogue. The community's response in Waco, the $500,000 donation, became a symbol of hope and renewal. The Waco Community Relief Fund immediately put the money to use, launching new initiatives to support housing, education, and local businesses. Evelyn Parker, the fund's director, worked closely with Brenda, who had committed herself to volunteering every weekend to ensure the money was spent wisely and transparently. For Brenda, the experience was transformative. She became an advocate for inclusivity, speaking at local events about the importance of overcoming biases and fostering a welcoming environment. Her staff, inspired by her leadership, participated in workshops on empathy and diversity, creating a cultural shift within the bank. National impact. The story reached beyond Waco, inspiring other communities and businesses to take a closer look at their own practices. Elon Musk's gesture, both his words and his donation, was lauded as a powerful example of how even the smallest interactions can have far-reaching consequences. Brenda's vulnerability in acknowledging her mistake resonated with many. Interviews with her were featured on morning shows, where she shared her journey of growth and the lessons she had learned. "I wasn't proud of how I handled the situation," she said in one interview, "but I'm grateful for the opportunity to make things right and to use this experience to help others see the importance of kindness and understanding." A lasting legacy. Months later, a plaque was unveiled at the Waco Community Relief Fund's new headquarters, which had been funded in part by Musk's donation. The plaque read, "In honor of the power of compassion and the courage to change, may we all strive to see beyond assumptions and recognize the humanity in each other." Brenda stood in the crowd during the unveiling, her heart swelling with a mix of pride and humility. She glanced down at her phone, where she had saved Musk's handwritten note as a daily reminder of the experience that had reshaped her life. The memory of that day in the bank remained vivid, but it no longer haunted her. Instead, it served as a constant reminder of the lesson Elon Musk had taught her and the world. Kindness indeed could change everything. Brenda took the envelope hesitantly, unsure of what to expect. She opened it to reveal a handwritten note and a clipping from the local newspaper. The note read, "Brenda, I've been banking here for years, and I've never seen such a transformation. Not just in you, but in the way this bank feels. What happened wasn't easy, but I think it brought out the best in you and in this community. Keep leading with kindness. You're making a difference." The newspaper clipping was an editorial titled "Lessons in Leadership and Empathy," praising Brenda for her efforts to turn the incident into an opportunity for growth. Brenda felt her throat tighten as she folded the note carefully and placed it in her pocket. "Thank you, Mr. Hargrove," she said softly. The elderly man smiled. "Sometimes life throws us into the deep end, but it's how we swim back that matters. You've done well." As he walked away, Brenda glanced around the bank. It looked the same as it always had. Tellers working, customers chatting, the hum of daily operations. But something was different now. There was a warmth, an energy of connection and understanding that hadn't been there before. For the first time in weeks, Brenda felt a sense of peace. The incident with Elon Musk had been humbling, but it had also been a turning point, not just for her, but for everyone it touched. And as she returned to helping the elderly woman, Brenda realized she wasn't just running a bank anymore. She was building a community. This final message brings everything full circle, reinforcing the lessons of humility, understanding, and growth. The story of Brenda and Elon Musk highlights how our assumptions can shape our interactions, but also how a moment of reflection and second chances, she wasn't just running a bank anymore. She was building a community. This final message brings everything full circle, reinforcing the lessons of humility, understanding, and growth. The story of Brenda and Elon Musk highlights how our assumptions can shape our interactions, but also how a moment of reflection and second chances can lead to profound change. It encourages readers or viewers to reflect on their own biases, treat others with empathy, and understand the ripple effect of their actions. It also serves as a reminder that the most unexpected moments, like a simple encounter at a bank, can teach us some of life's most important lessons. Sharing such a story helps spread the message of kindness and personal growth, urging others to look beyond surface judgments and be more compassionate in their everyday lives.